Alright guys, welcome to this video. So in this tutorial we are going to create a pop-up. Most of the times when you want to delete something, it pops up a confirmation dialog box. So we just want to create a confirmation dialog box using just HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So when this button is clicked, so when you click, so a pop-up is going to show asking you to confirm. So it's either click cancel or delete. So when you click cancel, you cancel. When you click delete, it's delete. So for now, the functionalities are not implemented, but the idea is how to make a pop-up using just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So yeah, let's get the show. Yeah, so now I'm in my folder. So I've created a folder called pop-up. So I'll open pop-up, and then I'll open pop-up with VS Code. So make sure you have Visual Studio Code installed in your computer. If you don't have Visual Studio Code, go to visualstudiocode.com and download VS Code. So inside the Visual Studio Code, so I'm going to create 3 files. So I have the first one. So the first one is going to be index.html to hold the HTML files. So the second one is going to be styles.css to hold the styles. And the last one is going to be app.js to hold the JavaScript functionalities. So to begin with, we are going to start with the index.html. We are going to start with the HTML element and add the HTML functionalities. So I'll start with the simple HTML boilerplate by pressing exclamation mark and press enter. So I'm using Emmet abbreviation. Emmet abbreviation allows you to write your HTML code faster. So I'll rename the title to pop-up. I'm going to link the styles, and again I'll come inside the body. I'll link the JavaScript file. Now, so we are done with the boilerplate. So I'll start inside the body. I'm going to add a section element. I'll give a class called container. I'm going to add a button of type button. So this is the button that is the delete button that when I click it, it's going to show the pop-up. So I'll give it a class of delete btn. So inside the delete btn, this is where I will add the text delete. I'll add a comment here to say pop-up container. So after the button has been clicked, this is what is going to be shown on the screen. So I'm going to create a div, and I'll give it a class called pop-up container. So the class for this one is going to be pop-up container. I should start with the background. I should say pop-up background, because when you click it, the background will be dark, and then the pop-up is going to show. So say pop-up background, and then another div. So this div is going to be given now pop-up container. So pop-up container. So inside the pop-up container, I'll have a text inside a span element saying, are you sure you want to delete? And then I'll have two buttons, cancel and delete. So for that one, I'm going to hold two buttons. I'm going to hold them inside a buttons div. So say buttons div with a class buttons, and then I'm going to have two buttons. So two buttons of the same type button, and I'm going to give this a class of cancel btn, and inside here the text should be cancel. And another button, so just copy and paste a type button. Now this one is since we already have a delete button, I will say confirm delete button. Inside text is going to be delete. So reaching this far, we have added all the HTML elements that we need, and then let's show what we have in the browser. So make sure you have live saver installed. So go to the marketplace and search for live saver. So make sure you have installed live saver to allow loading the website without refreshing the page. So after installing, you go here, go live. Now you're going to see that we have created this boilerplate or HTML skeleton for the project. Now let's style the HTML elements. So when styling the HTML elements, the first thing that you have to know, make sure you have linked the style sheet. Make sure that the style file is linked inside the index page. And also make sure you're using class. If you're not using class, maybe you're using ID. But the best way is to use a class. So we start selecting the class, the container class. We start with the container to center our elements, and then we'll style the button, and then we'll style the pop-up background, and then we'll style the pop-up container, and then we'll style the buttons, and then we'll add some JavaScript, and then we are done. So inside the styles file, so I'm going to use a global selector using asterisk. So after that, I'm going to remove the global styles, the default styles, by removing padding, the spaces within the elements, margin the spaces outside the elements, and I'm going to add transition of 0.2 seconds easy. So I want as the pop-up comes to be smooth. I want the transition to be smooth with a delay of 2 seconds. So I'm going to add a font family of Arial, and then I'm going to select the container. So if you can see the container, we have a class. Class is container. So to select the class, I'll put a dot and then write the class name, container, open bracket, close bracket. Since I want the elements of the container to be centered, so I'll say display flex. They should be flexible. All the items should be aligned at the center, and all the items should be justified at the center. And the flex direction, the direction they should be in a column format, and the height, the container should fill the height of the screen. So should take the height of the screen. So I'll say 100 view height. VH means view height. Should fill the whole screen of our where we are viewing our website. So say height 100 view height. Width is 100%. So it's going to fill from left to right. And I'll give it a background color of white. So background color of white, I use RGB of 240, 240, 240. That's white. So red, green, blue, 240, 240. And I also add position relative since I want to add a pop-up, which is also going to be at the center. So this being a parent element is going to hold other elements within it, which I want also to be styled separately. So I'll say position relative to allow the child elements to also be centered. So if you can see, you see that this is what we have done so far. All the elements have been centered and they are in the column format. Okay, so next I'm going to select the delete button. So since it's a class, I'll select the delete button. Now copy and select the delete button, open bracket, close bracket, and then I'll start with the background color. The background color for that one should be blue. So to add blue, I'll use RGB 49 122 233. So ready 49, blue 233, green 122. So I'll remove border. I don't want border. So border none. I'll remove outline. Also no outlines. I'll give padding. So padding gives space within the button. So padding the space within the button. So I want from top to bottom to be 10 pixels. From left to right should be 15 pixels. So I'll give it a font size of 17 pixels, if that can work, or 18 pixels. Just be 18 pixels. And then I'll give it a border radius. So border radius should have some round corners. So the corners should be rounded. So to round the corners, I'll just say maybe 50 pixels, CLC. And the color for the text should be white. So just say white. Or I can just copy this one. Should be the same. And since the button, so on the cursor, the mouse should be a pointer, so cursor pointer. So let's see what we have done. Yeah, so this is what we have done so far, and it looks very good. So next we are going to, I'll just add a hover effect. As we move the mouse over the button, what should happen? So I just want maybe the background color to just change to at least darker, yeah, something like that, like this, so smooth. Okay, so next we are going to select the pop-up background, this one. So the pop-up background, since this one is display position relative, that means it's going to allow the child element to be on top of it. So I'll say pop up background, open close bracket, oops, open close bracket. So I'll say, since that one it was position relative, this one should be position absolute. So position absolute is going to allow the background to be styled on top of the container. So I'll say right. So if you can see, okay, let's see first, see, they're now overlapping because position absolute. So I can style this to say, okay, right should be 0, should float to the right, see, and then I also want left to be 0. So if I put left 0, that means it's going to, it has filled all this from left to right. And then I'll say right 0, left 0, top 0, and bottom 0 too. So that gives a full, that means it has covered the whole of this. So I'll give it a background color of say RGBA. So I use RGBA because I want to have an alpha, should be transparent. So 0, 0, 0, that's black, but 0 point, let's say 6, that's making black transparent. So should have a display flex for now, display flex, and align items center, and justify content center too, so that all the elements should be at the center. And then boom, this is what I have done. A background of black, transparent black, all the elements at the center. Now remaining, we have to make sure that this now is like a pop-up, it's a card, and then you should have a background of white and style the buttons. So next we have to style the pop-up container, this one. So I'll select that one. So for the pop-up container, we are going to say, so the first thing we're going to give it a background. So say background color of RGB 240, which is white, 240, 240. That's white. And we are going to give it a padding of 20 pixels top to bottom and 15 pixels left to right. Space within the card. And I'm going to give it a border radius. So a border radius, I want the corners not to be too sharp. They should be at least curved with 5 pixels. And I'm going to give it a length, width first, should be 300 pixels. So the width should be 300 pixels and the height should be auto. So when I say height auto, that means it should take the same height as the elements within it. So I'm going to give it a display of flex, it should be flexible. All the items should be aligned at the center, and also all of them should be justified, and the way they are they should be arranged, their flex direction should be column. So let's see what we have done, and boom, this is the pop-up. Now let's style the text, should just increase the size, and then style the buttons. So to select the text, that means I have to select this span element inside the pop-up container. So I'll go through the pop-up container and select the span. So I'll say pop-up container and select the span element, which should be styled as just want to increase the font size. So the font size should be at least 17 pixels, and the margin bottom should give space at the bottom with the buttons, which should be at least 20 pixels. And then next we are going to select the buttons. So remember, the buttons, they are inside the buttons container. So these buttons, so I'll go through the buttons and then select this button and this button at the same time. So I'll say buttons and then select the button element. So since we are just selecting them elements, so we don't use any dot or hash because they are elements. So for the buttons, let me see, they have border, so I'll give border none. So for the buttons, border none, outline none, and then padding, I'll give it padding to have it a space within the, should have space within the button, top to bottom 10 pixels, right to left 15 pixels. And then at least I should change the font size. So the font size for it should also be 17 pixels for the buttons. And cursor, the mouse should be a pointer. The border radius, they should not be too sharp, at least kept with 5 pixels. And color, so the color should also be white, so I'll use the RGB 240. So let's see what you have done. Oh, since the color is white, so you cannot see it unless we select each button separately. So the other one should be red, the other one should be, so we'll say select the cancel button and give it a background, and select the confirm delete button and also give it a background. So start with the cancel button, I think it's cancel BDN, and then for the cancel button we are going to give it a background of gray. So just say background color of this RGBA, but I'm going to say it's 0.5. This is gray. And then for the confirm delete button, I'm going also to give it a background color. So for the background color for that one, say RGB. So for the background color, I'll give it RGB, red 240, green 55, blue 55. So which is like ready. So one thing that I'm going to add is a hover effect, that as I move over the mouse, over the buttons, the mouse, the background should change color. So just say over. So I'll just give it a color to this one, or maybe to black. And for the confirm button also, I'll just say hover and change this to this one. So let's see what we have done now. So this is what we have done so far, but this one should be black, let's say 8. Yep. So as I move over, should be black, yeah, at least. So we are done styling, but the next one thing that I want to add is I want to add the icon for delete and for cancel. So to do that, we are going to use font awesome. So to add font awesome, go on my browser and search for font awesome CDN. So font awesome CDN is going to allow us to add, to link us to font awesome. So it gives us link to font awesome to access font awesome icons. So I'll copy the link tag, which is going to be pasted on the index file inside the head element. So inside the head, I'm going to add a comment to say link to font awesome CDN. So I'm going to add the link copied. So this link copied is going to help us link to font awesome to access the font awesome classes for the icons. So yeah, so after that, inside of the cancel. So inside the cancel button, press enter. I'll press enter, and I also press enter. So inside here, this is where I want to add the icon. So I'll say I'll use the I element. So I'll say I class FA, which is font awesome solid, and the FA. So FA solid means font awesome solid. The icon should be solid. And then what I want to access for cancel is the X mark, which is going to be the X for cancel. And for button, I'll just copy the same, but I'll just change on the class. So for the button, what I want to access still is the FA solid, but I want to access the trash can, which is the delete symbol. And I also copy this one for the delete button we have up there, which is going to be the same, the trash can. So if you save and go on your website, you're going to see that we have the icons added. Okay. Yeah, so for the HTML, we are done. So we have created an HTML element, an HTML project with just HTML, but we want to add the functionality for JavaScript that this pop-up should only show when the delete button has been clicked. For now, by default it's showing, but we want it to show after the delete button has been clicked. So to add that, what we are supposed to do is to first display this none, should be hidden. This should be hidden. Should only show when the button has been clicked. So to hide this, we are going to come on the pop-up background, this one, pop-up background. The display is flex, is showing, but for now we should add display none. When you add display none, it's going to hide. Okay, so it's hidden. We only want to show this after this button has been clicked. So to do that, we are going to use JavaScript. But before that, I'm going to add a class here, which is going to show the background, which is going to have a display of flex. Because to show that pop-up background, it can only be shown if the display is flex. But for now, we have added display none. So let's go to JavaScript. So to JavaScript, first thing that we are going to do, we are going to select this delete button and add an event listener to this button, that when this button has been clicked, this button should show the pop-up. So the pop-up will be shown when this button has been clicked. So we'll copy that one, the class, and then we'll say on the JavaScript file, we are going to add the variables. So I'll say const delete boolean element. So I'll say document dot query selector. So I'm going to select the class for the delete button, and on the delete button, I also want to after that, I also want to select the pop-up background. So I'll just say pop-up element document dot query selector. So the background for that one, it was pop-up. The element for that one, it was pop-up background. So after selecting that, and then what I'm going to do is on the delete button, I want to add an event listener that when the button has been clicked, okay, the following function should be executed. So add an event listener, say click, then this function should run. So what you're supposed to do is when the button has been clicked, so let's first try if the button has been clicked. Let's use an alert. Alert, say button is clicked. So let's check. If we click here, see, that means the button is working. Now we just want to show this, not this, but the pop-up. So after the button has been clicked, then display flex. So we're going to say on the pop-up element, the class list, you should toggle or should add, you should just say add on the class list, add show. So on the pop-up element that have been selected, on its class list, add the show class. So our show class, remember, has a display flex. That means it's going to show the pop-up element. So that means if you click here, so the pop-up is showing. Now we just want to find a way to cancel this. Now we are going to use the cancel element. That when this cancel button has been clicked, then the pop-up should go display none. And then using JavaScript tool, so for the cancel button, I think it's named cancel btn, class cancel btn. So we're going to say again const cancel btn element. So I'm going to say has a document query selector cancel btn. So for the cancel btn, when the cancel btn has been clicked, then remove the class list show. Remove show from the class list. So we're going to say add event listener, and then the following function should run. And then from the pop-up element, from its class list, then remove the show class. So once the button has been clicked, then remove the show class. So what is happening there is if we click here, we have the show, the pop-up showing, and then when we click cancel, we should remove the pop-up. If we click here, the pop-up is showing, cancel. If we click here, the pop-up is showing, cancel. So you can also do the same with the delete button, since we are not adding any other functionalities. So even if the delete button has been clicked, the pop-up also should go display none. So that means we can also do the same. So we just have to select the confirm delete btn, this one, select, and then you also come on the list of variables, just copy and paste that one. So I'll say confirm btn. So instead of cancel btn, I'm going to paste the confirm delete button. So I also select the confirm delete button, that if it has been clicked, say add event listener. So if that one, if it has been clicked also, it should also display none, the pop-up. So say pop-up L. The class list also remove the show class. So that one, if we click here, it's going to remove. Click here, it's also going to remove. Yeah. So this is how you add a pop-up in JavaScript using HTML and CSS. So reaching this far, thank you for watching, and if you found these videos interesting, please subscribe for more videos.